Hello, hello. I'm gonna check the auction. Auction time. This is the 7K. I'll wait till everyone gets here. Oh yeah, I need to do an introduction to each one of these videos. What did I do? I had some notes on the introduction to do introduction on these videos. I don't know. Where'd they go? Oh well. Hey, David's here. David Blaylock. David DeLorenzo is here. Alan Cole is here. Styley Designs. Hey, hey. Alrighty. Already. Okay, I'm going to do my introduction by memory. My name is Patrick. The channel name is Jack Crafty. Kiowa's here. Jordan's here. If you are looking for something in particular, you can do a search on my Jack Crafty channel. I have over 2,000 videos. I've been doing this since 2011. I just recently started doing live streams. I put the live stream schedule in the description box below after the live stream's done. If you want to know the schedule, just look at my previous live streams, and the description box should have the schedule. I do 3 a week. The reason why I do these is because I don't travel very much, and I don't expect to be traveling very much in the future. So in order to see me face to face, kind of, I do these live streams. I will not be going to any nap-ins this spring. I just gave away all my money to my oldest daughter for now to help her get a car. So I'll have to wait till the fall to go to some nap-ins. Tommy Taylor's here. David from UK is here. Ass Butter's here. What up? Yay. Alrighty. Cool. The gang's showing up. Very loyal gang. Okay, so there's a lot of people that don't comment, which is fine. If you have questions, you can ask during the live stream. This is not specific to napping. We can talk about whatever we want. I do not encourage political speech or religion on the live stream, but that's it. What kind of car did your daughter get? She hasn't got it yet. She's looking around. I think she's going to save up a little bit of her money herself. But it's good to have, a chunk of it sitting there so that when she does spot, she's going to buy a used car, like we always do in my family. We never buy a brand new car. So she's going to look around, and when she sees one, then she'll jump on it. Yeah. 2011 is the year your wife left you. Yikes. I got divorced in 2015. Yeah, that's 10 years ago. Dang. But yeah. Let's see what else here. R. Snyder's. Ralph's here. Yeah, no Cybertruck. She's not going to get a Cybertruck. She likes the economy car. She's going to probably get a small 4-cylinder or something. Peter's here. She could get a motorcycle. It costs less. Yeah, I offered to buy her not a motorcycle, but a scooter. Very good on gas and stuff, but she says, nah, I want a car. I might get myself a scooter next year just to scoot around town, or a moped. Moped be even better. I think I might get myself a little moped to scoot around town here. But I can get anywhere I want here in town. I'm in Vermont right now. living in Vermont. I can get anywhere in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then walk back. So if I want to run an errand in town, it just takes me 20 minutes walking, but it takes me 2 minutes if I have like a little moped or something. Because especially going to the post office and things like that. Smallzilla, Harley's here. Made it to the live stream, Patrick. I'll be napping while y'all are napping. Working more or my nasty Iowa quartzite stuff. No feeling in my fingers tonight. Oh, dang. Is it that cold there? Jesse's here. Hey. Oh, you guys are napping while you're listening to the live stream. Hey. Smallzilla in the house. I got your sign there, Harley. Very funny. It's very funny. Let's see. Jordan says, that's a monster of a point there, Patrick. Must have done it off camera. Yeah, I did this one off camera. Yeah. I don't normally do large blades, but I had this big piece that Jeff sent to me. I was going to do it on video, but it was starting to get fussy. It was going to be a lot wider than this. Well, maybe not a lot wider. I did not want it to be this narrow. Yeah. But it ended up being narrow because it got fussy. And there's a defect in the tip too, which I took a big chunk out of that side to try to blast that out of there. And it made it all crooked. So I had to make it more narrow. But yeah, with this Georgia chert, you get those fossils in there sometimes. I think that's a fossil. Yeah. Anyway, that was interesting. I'm going to be doing one of obsidian larger than this soon, hopefully. And that kind of thing. I'll do those once in a while, maybe one a year or something like that, because they drive me nuts. David says, my divorce was 2015. Good riddance. Yeah. We're still all in contact with each other, so it worked out okay. Let's see. Peter says, oh, very cool. My first ride was a 1961 Vespa. My first car, well, my mom gave me her car. It was in pretty bad shape, so I was just sitting in the driveway, but she said, you can have it. It was a 1968 Ford Fairlane. Yeah. It was cool. I did end up driving that around and driving my friends around with it for a little while. It was cool. Peter says, are they napping or napping? Yeah, I don't know. Some people fall asleep to these videos, so they might be napping instead of napping. The sign is fantastic. Glad you like it and love seeing it up. There will be more on the way, so stay tuned. Awesome. People need to go bid on that. Tremendous job. Yeah, you can bid in the auction right now. It's not a live auction. It's just a video, and you post your bids in the comment section. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern, I declare the winners on each item. I've got 8 items this week. A lot of little buy faces. I was going to make a bunch of points, but I end up doing this. You know, I do a lot of buy faces. And if I don't have time to make them into points, I just sharpen them up and sell them as buy faces. Or sometimes I don't even have time to sharpen them up. I'll just sell them as, individually if they're long enough, or in boxes if they're, 4 inches or less. I think that's about a 4 1/4 inch point there. Something like that. Anyway, if they're more than 4 inches, sometimes I'll sell them individually, but if they're less than 4 inches, I'll box them up together with other ones. Yeah. If you don't know what Harley's talking about, Smallzilla made me this sign here on a 3D printer. It says, how do I know? I don't know. It's funny that people like that rather than, or they prefer, or they think that's funny over and above other things that I say. Yeah. Let's see. Alan Cole says, I'm napping while listening to the live stream. Night shift is imminent. Yeah. Jesse says, bit on the Buffalo River. Wowza. Yeah, the Buffalo River stuff's good. Let's see. What did I miss? And Doghouse. Hey, Patrick, you still going to Brady? No, I'm going to cancel my Brady trip this spring. Yeah. Sorry about that, Danny. I'm not going to be going. I got to tell Ben. I got to send everybody emails tonight. I got to tell Ben I'm not going to make it. I'll try for the fall. I should be able to go in the fall. But see, this time around, a couple things happening with the family that require me to spend money elsewhere. Yeah, my second oldest daughter is having her baby this month. My first grandchild, and then my oldest daughter wants to buy a new car because she's having a hard time with the one she has. So I'm going to try for the spring. Now I may go to Letchworth in the fall. No, in August. The closest one coming up to me is the Letchworth Knapping in New York, and I'm going to try to make that one. That's only about 3.5 hours at the most for me as far as travel time. I think that's how close it is. It might even be closer. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I got to look it up again. Mike Mason says hi. Jordan says hit the like button, peeps. Yeah. I still like to make doo-doo with what I got, says Peter. Yeah, that's my favorite. I like to make doo-doo with what I got. I don't like to, but I end up doing it. Yeah. I hate to do it. I hate to do the making doo-doo with what I got, but it's the law of the West. I like the law of the West one too. Is a law of the West. It comes from a cartoon. If you don't know what that is, I'll send you a link. Let's see. Danny says, oh man, sorry you can't make it. Take care. Grandkids come first. Yeah. If I can, I'll go. I'm gonna go see the baby. Maybe not this month, but next month. Jesse says, oh man, don't leave it. Don't leave it on there. That looks like mine. Best quote ever. I laughed so hard regarding leaving a step on the point. Oh yeah, I remember that comment. Don't leave it. Don't leave the step fracture on there. I hate that because I want to know how to get rid of them. All of mine look that way. We've all been there. Yeah. Alan Cole says, side note, Time Magazine new cover has a 0.001% dire wolf, 20 dire wolf genes substitute in the 20,000 gray wolf genes. De-extinction is happening. Interesting. Peter says, should do a sign of that with the poop emoji. Oh, yeah. Congrats, Patrick. Yeah, I'm going to be a grandfather soon. Very soon. First one. Smallzilla Harley says, congratulations on your first. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I didn't do any of I'm not responsible. I didn't do anything. Let's see. Jesse says, Patrick, congrats, grand nappy. Yeah. Hey, Jesse, $20. That's a super chat. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell if it's super chat or what that is, but it shows up really clear. Yeah. I've seen some live streams where the only people that get responded to are the ones that do those super chat donations. But I'll try to read all the comments. Let's see. David says, I'm coming up for a year napping. I've got 2 more years, like you said, but actually get it right. So I think I'm making good progress. Yeah, after a year, if you're doing okay, you're well on your way. Yeah, it took me 2 years before I actually had to get serious about it. Because I didn't progress any. After 2 years of making a bunch of just junk, I had to get serious about it and really start thinking about what I was doing. And then after that, it took another 2 years to get a point that I liked. Let's see. Asputter says, I just sent you a photo of an awesome bow and arrow quiver I made, Plains Indian style. You did? All right. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. My new arrow and bow quiver. Okay, yeah. I do see it. Can you see it? I do see it. Can you see it? Awesome. It looks like buckskin. It's got the bow quiver behind the arrow quiver. Yeah. I don't know if you can see the two separate quivers. Awesome. Yeah, thanks. If you send me an email with a photo and stuff, I'll show you. I'll show everybody. Yeah. That way you don't have to, you can't post pictures on the chat, but I can show pictures. Let's see. Dawn Reed's here. Rock Run and Grandbaby Run. Yeah. Yes. Jesse says, that's for making and pulling off that huge blade. Super Che Monday. Thank you. What is Super Che? Did I read that right? Or is that spelled right? Mike Mason says, see, that was funny. I didn't do anything. Yeah. Alan says, congratulations, Grand Nappy. Yeah. Grand Nappy. That's a t-shirt. Should be on a t-shirt, right? Maybe I should start looking into making t-shirts. I've had people volunteer to make t-shirts and stuff in the past, but I don't know. I need to learn how to do it myself. Or I did subscribe to one outfit that made t-shirts and other merchandise, but just trying to navigate through their site took a little while. And then once I figured it out, I figured out that I'm not able to upload images in the right format for them. So I just said, it'll take me the rest of the week to get something done. And then I won't have time for anything else. Yeah. Jordan says, I ordered some of the heat treat Buffalo River from Danny. Never napped it before. Oh, yeah, you'll like it. It's a little bit crackly. Lately, I've gotten a lot of crackly stuff. But yeah, it's a little bit crackly. The flakes will break up. What crackly means is that the flakes will break up and they'll leave little remnants and step fractures where you thought they won't do that. And it crushes easily. It's difficult to sharpen. That's what crackly means. But it looks really good once you get a good handle on it and know how to remove flakes cleanly. It looks really good. Let's see. Jesse says, I said the bad words when the side of your biface fell off. Internal crack. You were nowhere near the part that sheared off. Yeah. Oh, I broke another one not today. Let's see. A couple days ago, I broke a root beer biface in 4 pieces because I struck it by accident with the mallet. Yeah. I was going to offer it in a broke some bifaces box. Oh, maybe I'll offer it next week. Yeah, that was bad. That hurt. I didn't say the bad words though, because I've broken so many, I just get tired of complaining. No big deal. And once in a while, I'll make a powdered point. Yeah. You guys have been watching, know what the powdered points are. Other people go, what? This is a weird side of YouTube. It's so weird. I don't understand it. What are they talking about? It's pointless. Yeah, if you look at the background, you don't know what this is about. Let's see. David says, Patrick, what made you start napping and why on earth was using metal pliers? I started napping because I like bows and arrows. Nothing made me start napping except maybe just seeing other guys making arrowheads. I'm going, you can make those like that? On YouTube, I was looking at YouTube videos. Said, hey, I can do that. Yeah, it won't take me very long, couple weeks. Yeah. A lot of times it only takes me a couple weeks to learn something, but not this time. A couple years at least. Let's see. Jesse says, Alan, yes, that's it. Grand nappy. Yeah. Peter says, OMG, baby bib for the grandkids says, I make doo-doo with what I got. Yeah. You can just mark it on there. I can just probably make one. I can use one of those fabric markers and, write it on the bib. That'd be awesome. I might do that, actually. Magic markers and crayons, you can make your own. Yeah. Don Reed says, yes. Hey, you read my mind or I read your mind. Mike Mason says, it's got $sign. Yeah. Smallzilla. Okay, question for you, Patrick. How can you tell if a napper who's giving advice actually knows what they're talking about or if they're just blowing smoke? The easiest way to know if they are blowing smoke is if they talk in definite terms. They did this, they did that. This does this does that. This works for this works for that. If they talking in definite terms and they don't say, well, I don't really know exactly. If they think they know exactly and they're talking like they know exactly, they don't know what they're talking about. No. Because it's all up in the air. And there's many things that have little slight tweaks that make all the difference in flintnapping. So, and okay, so that's that. There's tweaks that matter a lot, almost imperceptible tweaks, and there's more than one way to do the same exact thing. In flintnapping or in most crafts, there's more and usually many ways to do the same exact thing, and napping is no exception. Okay, and then what works for you may be different from that, which works for someone else. So if a napper says you need to do this to get this result, they're usually wrong. Okay. It's very rare that a napper can copy someone else's technique exactly and get exactly the same result. It can be done. Yeah. You can practice long enough and hard enough and develop the same technique, but it's rare. Everyone has their own little tweaks. And besides, you don't always have the same materials. So if they're talking in definite terms, they're just blowing smoke usually. Now, sometimes when you can talk in definite terms, if you admit right off the bat that you're sounding like you're definite, but you don't really know, but this is your opinion. So yeah, definitely my opinion, that you can talk in definite terms that way, as long as you know that it's their opinion. But if they say, well, they made such and such a point, like Clovis's were made specifically with direct percussion at this stage and indirect percussion at that stage, and they made the flute with this particular method for sure. And if they say that they could tell what is paleo flaking and what is archaic flaking and what is late prehistoric flaking and all that kind of stuff, definitely tell the difference, they're blowing smoke. It doesn't exist, that kind of knowledge. Let's see. What else? Dustin's here. Yeah, Dustin has seen Smallzilla on Reddit and he loves the work. Awesome. The Brooks go in the Broken Bifaces box. Yeah, I'm going to offer a Brooks and Bifaces box probably next week. Yeah. Jesse says, I made a powder point. Ishii spent 2 hours and a wing flew off. Powder pulverizing the broken point kills the bad spirit and protects you on your next 10 points. Yeah. But don't forget, take the powder and go, sprinkle it. You've seen that meme where you sprinkle the magic dust. You got to sprinkle the magic powder from the powder point. Yeah. Crybaby sandwiches. Yeah. You remember that one, right? That was fun. It's funny to think about that. We had that joke in my family for a short time. Oh, what's the matter? You want me to make you a crybaby sandwich? Come on. You'll be okay. I'll make you a crybaby sandwich. Yeah. The other thing was, did you hurt your little finger? You hurt your finger? You got to do a boo-boo. In napping, we hurt our little finger. But I don't say that around the guys, That was just for me and the kids. Jesse, hey, Patrick. Wondering if you got the Osage stave. Nope, I haven't got a stave yet. Still stuck in the mail, I suppose. I need to check on the routing. Not the routing number. I need to check on the. Maybe it is called the routing number. Tracking number. I need to check on the tracking number. Keith says, "What the heck? I've been trying to get here before Ed. Did I make it? Yeah, I haven't seen Ed yet, Keith. So yeah, you made it before Ed." Jesse says, I saw some videos with some nappers claiming you can't flake or strike above center line. As you know, it's not true. Yes, I know. We all know on this channel it's not true. Yes. Although risky, on thicker knobby parts, back off the angle and you can knock it off. Yeah. There's various ways to hit above the center line and be safe. Yeah. It depends. You just got to move your workpiece around a little bit, change the angle on the workpiece, make sure you're kind of doing a glancing blow and you can hit above center line. And there's pressure flaking above center line too sometimes. The first person I've seen to do pressure flaking above the center line is Jim Wynn or Paleo Man Jim. You can see that he does that sometimes. And he actually prefers to create the edge or to shape the edge so it is above center line before he starts pressure flaking on some of his stuff. Smallzilla says, glad you like the stuff, Dustin. It's been a fun time on there, on Reddit, I assume. I should mention here, too, that I did what I could to make a beginner guide with heaps of resources. I should email Patrick it. Yeah. Everyone emails me everything else. Why not? Let's see. Jesse says, Salt Bay Napping, LMAO. Chief Dude sprinkling the seasonings. Yeah. Sprinkle that point powder. Yeah. I almost had to make a point powder batch yesterday. Or was it today? I broke some off of this Ishii style point. One of the ears. That side. Oh, dang it. After all that work trying to get the notches and I snapped one of the ears, the very end of it. Luckily, it didn't snap the whole ear off. But no, I didn't want to make this into a powder point. I was going, let's just finish it out anyway. And yeah, it is an Ishii style, although it doesn't quite look like a lot of the Ishii points. I try to do a little bit of a narrow entry and expanding notch type thing. Where is the Ishii points? I got books over here that consult. No, it's not. That's not that one. My library. Well, part of it back there. I left some of my books in Texas. See, these are Ishii points. The shadows kind of ruin the outline, but they're concave based. See that? See that? The bases are concave, but the shadows mess that up, so it's hard to tell. But he liked to do narrow entry. See that? Narrow entries. Very tricky to do. Yeah. You need to do some vertical notching, like vertical pressure flaking to do those. I got lazy. I just made a curved pressure flaker. It looks like a bird beak. So I think I'm gonna call it a bird beak pressure flaker. But he just used a straight pressure flaker with a very long, sharp tip made of steel. And before that, he probably used a long piece of bone. Yeah, obsidian naps well with bone. It's hard to nap chert with bone. Let's see. Jesse says, okay, I read that one already. Mike says, I was listening to a guy say that the further back you go, the bigger the points get. They were talking about it maybe because of a larger game, then admits a bird point can take large deer. Any thoughts? Yeah, I got lots of thoughts on that. A friend of mine in when I was living in Texas, a friend of mine used to collect. He showed me his collection. He used to collect in a town called Monahans, Texas, which is in the west part of Texas. And he came across not only some arrowheads, but bison bones. And the arrowheads, there were like 4 arrowheads within the bison bones. And these arrowheads were less than an inch and a half long. And, they were bird points, basically, right? They call them bird points, but they're actually true arrow points. There was like 4 or 5 within these bison bone remains. And the reason why he would hunt arrowheads in that area is because of something called blowouts, where the wind, since we have a lot of dust storms there and it's desert, the wind blows out a bunch of the dirt in certain areas. And where it blows out the dirt, it leaves behind the heavy stuff, the rocks, the bones, the arrowheads and stuff. So he would look in the blowouts. They call them blowouts. And there he found bones and the arrowheads. And there's other sites that have revealed that bison were taken with very small points. And more than one arrow was used to kill the bison. Okay, with the small points. Now, as far as going back in time and the points get bigger, that's not true. There are paleo points and points that are transitional paleo that are small. And let me see. I need to figure out. I need to try to remember which points they are. But there are points that are very small that are either paleo or late paleo. Well, hey, I got lucky on that one. You see this right here? The big sandy. These are actual size. That big sandy right there. That one is a late Paleo Indian point. Okay, small. It could fit on an arrow. There's other ones in here. Now there are large points. When you go back in time, there are large points, but they're not all large. Okay, and that's not a general rule. There are actually the largest points that you'll find are going to be archaic points. And, they didn't make these in paleo times either. They didn't make these large items like this in paleo times. Okay. So my thoughts on that are is that is completely wrong, totally false, opposite of the truth, that kind of thing. That's my thoughts on that one. But there's a lot of different examples. If you look on Dalton is a paleo Indian, right? Or transitional paleo, late paleo. Look how small some of the Daltons are. I'm using my hand as a comparison in size. These are actual size in the book. Some of those small Daltons can fit on an arrow, but they're at little dart points. So I just gave you two examples, the Big Sandy and the Dalton, but there are many others that are small back in the day. Much smaller than archaic points in many cases. What's archaic point? Look it up. Let's see. What did I miss? Tommy Taylor says, Keith, turn your sniffing hound loose. We're missing a few. Yeah, we're missing a few likes. What's up? Mike Mason says, oop, got my like in. Yeah. Dawn says, how many emails a day do you get? At least 15. Yeah, I'm just guessing. Now, from subscribers and stuff, I get at least 2 or 3 every day, at least. Some of them are continuous messages where guys are in continuous communication with me. Sometimes they're brand new. Brand new nappers or brand new subscribers, I get maybe 1 or 2 a week. But most of my emails are spam, unfortunately. Let me think here. I try to get everything in to one place. So it's my fault that I give my one email to everybody and I post it on my channel and all that kind of stuff. So I get all kinds of stuff. YouTube used to send me a bunch of collaboration emails from collaborators. And I don't get as many of those anymore. I got one the other day from someone who says, you're stealing my music. I'm gonna take you to court. Yeah. What music do I have on my videos? 0. Good luck, buddy. It's just a scammer. Let's see. Where did I miss? Oh, I'm missing a lot. Jesse says, your small Wintu in the auction is badass. The mahogany one. Oh, okay, thanks. Tommy Taylor's Keith. Ed's late because he probably is trying to outbid you. Thomas Thompson, hello. You are the king of stone. All righty. Thank you. I wish. Keith Ricketts says, dang it, Ed. Dang it. Ed's not here yet. Keith says, everyone hit that like button before I turn the hounds loose. Yeah. Peter says, probably size difference was additionally due to switch from atlatl to bow. Yeah, that is true. But it's mainly the size of the neck of the point itself. The overall size, there are arrow points that are just as large as the atlatl dart points, vice versa. It's the neck between the notching or the constriction at the stem. If the more narrow it is, the more likely it is it's an arrow point. Now, there is some evidence that arrows existed in the Americas much earlier than they've been projected to exist. We have definite evidence of arrows appearing at around 500 to 700 AD, right? In the Americas. But there are some researchers that would place that thousands of years earlier because of some small points. Okay. And they did a study using mathematical models. and they would photograph the points and then have the model determine if it was a arrow point or an atlatl dart point. And if the model would say arrow or possibility for an arrow, they would put it on a chart. And it looks like arrow points may go back 12,000 years, just, with the first migration, or even further back with some of the first migrations into the New World. They're thinking that the first migrations were 20,000 years now. They've updated the timelines. So the bow may have come over with the first migrations way back in the day, long, long time ago. We don't know for sure because not all arrows are tipped with stone. The most common arrow point is just wood, sharpened wood. And the next most common is bone or antler. Stone was not used on all arrows. So it's hard to tell. Okay. Mike says, I also consider the techniques and technologies may have evolved. Yeah. Jim Cooper, hey. Keith Ricketts, I broke a point each day last week, but I look on the bright side. I have 7 new marbles to play with. That's funny. Mike Mason, hey, BB Cooper, you spent that money yet? What money is changing hands? You guys are sneaky here. Let's see. Mike Tufts is here. Hey. Let me see here. I missed some stuff. Be careful swinging that sword around. You might break it. Yeah, I got to be careful I don't drop it. This feels like I should wrap something around the bottom. Now, the Aztec Indians use it the other way around, like this. This was the business end for the Aztecs, this end. And they put a little tip on that, little point. Now, we as Europeans, we think this is the way to do it because of mainly because of the type 1 Danish daggers and type 2 Danish daggers and stuff. But back in the day, this was the business end. Okay? On most of these types with the long blades. Let's see. Tommy Taylor says, I haven't got the notification of the auction yet. Sometimes I don't get notifications on live streams. I have to remember and look it up. Yeah, YouTube's not that great as far as notifications, unfortunately. Mike Mason, one of those Daltons is a very rounded tip. Seen plenty of examples. Have you tested or heard about ballistics on those? I ask because I like the narrow entry points also. Let's see. The ballistics on Daltons, I haven't seen a study on ballistics on Daltons. I've seen a study on ballistics on Clovis, but they weren't hafting those Clovises in a good way. So I'll have to do my own tests. Peter says, not saying that there weren't small points for atlatl darts, but arrows tend not to be as big as atlatls can be. You'd be surprised. Have you looked at the South American arrows? The ones that they use today, or not today, but within modern times, have you seen arrows in South America? They're as big as atlatl darts. I'm talking about South America, not Central America. I imagine they would use those in North America too, especially in the Southeast. They were using big arrows. Mike Tufts is here, says hello. Peter says, really? I would imagine atlatl size on arrows would be too heavy. It depends on what you're trying to shoot. Have you seen blunted wooden arrows? Let's see. Where is it? I'll show you something that it really affected my views on arrows. When I first saw this, I said, no way. Native American arrows, they weren't like that. Sure enough. I'll show you. Okay. First, there's this illustration. This is actual size. I put my hand there so you can see. See that? Arrow point. It's an arrow point. Okay. That one's made of slate. Let's see. What else? See that one? That's in a museum. It's an arrow point. Now, these are unusual. Yes, they're unusual, but they exist. Okay. What else? I said blunts, right? Let me find the blunt. These blunts have tips that are heavier than stone tips. See that tip? That's an arrow point. Okay. Huge. That weighs more than the ad-lateral dart point. In case you didn't know, I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just saying some people don't realize it. I didn't realize that some arrows have really, really heavy points. And if you look at the stuff from South America, those tribes that are shooting these big, huge, gigantic arrows, I was amazed. Those are actual size arrow points for arrows. Okay, so we don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Let me see. Mike Mason says, Peter, kind of agree if you can take a bison with bird points. Got to wonder what the minimum would be for a mammoth or a ground sloth. I imagine a big cliff works great, though. Yeah, there's got to be a way to hunt mammoths that doesn't involve projectile points. Yeah. If you can hunt a mammoth without the projectile points, that would be ideal. How would you do that? Well, you kill it in some other way, and not by forcing it over a cliff. You could create a trap to where you can immobilize, like capture one leg on the mammoth in a trap. And it'll eventually starve to death, or if it doesn't get anything to drink, it will die after several days. Now, that's very mean and cruel and inhumane, but that'll kill the mammoth. It'll only take about a week or so, right? You can just trap it and immobilize it where it can't move and it can't drink anything. So in that case, you wouldn't need a projectile point. Other ways you could kill mammoths is to drown them. They're crossing a river. So all you would need to do is weigh them down somehow, throw something onto them or do something creative to weigh them down so they'll drown. You know what I'm saying? This is inhumane methods, but if you've got to eat, you got to think like someone who's starving in a survival situation. What would you do to kill a mammoth? You could also set traps that are deadfalls, like you just hang a big heavy log with spikes on it, wooden spikes above the trail where mammoths would go, and then they could trip a mechanism and this log would fall down and hit the mammoth and pierce the hide and all that with the wooden spikes and stuff, and you would just track the mammoth because it'd be bleeding all over the place, and then wait till it died. Again, it's cruel and inhumane, but if you got to eat, you got to eat. So think about how to kill mammoths without projectile points, and I think you can come up with many different ways. So you wouldn't have to come up with a method to kill them with lateral darts. You know what I'm saying? Mike Mason says, regarding the rounded end with the little tip, that would maximize robustness. Yeah, it would. The rounded end with the little tip, it would make it more durable, yes. And you could still open up a hide with that little projecting point sticking out. It'll be able to enter the hide easily so you can open it up. Yeah. And of course, with These were used for human sacrifice in some gruesome ceremonies, but we won't get into that. Let's see. Mike says, Patrick, I don't mean the ballistics on the Daltons themselves. I mean the rounded tip examples. Oh, okay. The rounded tip examples, the ballistics on the rounded tip, I haven't seen studies on those either. In general, a rounded tip, I mean, there's probably ballistics on the rounded tip, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen that type of study. Um, yeah. Luis Miguel. Un trabajo excelente. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we have someone from Spain. I wish we had a translator. Let's see. I can read some of that, but I can't read all of this. I mean, I can read a little bit of Spanish, but not too much. Smallzilla says, Patrick, on the subject of artifacts, what would your dream artifact find be? Doesn't have to be a projectile point, or you could do a dream point and find the dream artifact, find together. What would be my dream artifact to find? It's always been a complete bow and arrow set or an atlatl and dart set. The set together, I would like to find that. Like go to a dry cave in the Southwest and find the bow, arrow, quiver, points, foreshafts, all that stuff in a kit that the hunter or the warrior would have, and study it as a kit, as a system together. That would be my ultimate find. That's my dream find, to find all these things together so that I can weigh the arrowheads, spine the arrows, how powerful is the bow, what's the width of the bowstring, what was the bowstring made out of, how did they carve the wood, was it sanded smooth or was it rough? Did the arrows have bite marks where they were straightening with their teeth? I would look at all this other kind of stuff that maybe other people wouldn't look for, and try to come up with, a scenario on how it was made and how it was used. Did it matter to them if the string was aligned perfectly down the center of the bow or if it was off center? Did the bow tiller make sense to us, or was it just the shape of the bow was just for looks? And it didn't matter. They could have used just a simple stick, but they chose to make a special shape just for art, artistic purposes. The arrows, did they all match in weight? Was their center of gravity the same? Were the arrowheads sharp? Is there signs of repair? All kinds of stuff. I would check stuff that maybe some people wouldn't check. I know from a lot of different sources that it appears that Indians did not match their arrows to each other very closely. There was a big variation in weight, in arrow spine, and arrowhead size, between arrows in the same kit. There was a more variation in the Native American equipment than what we have today. Today, we're very, very persnickety about exact matching of the arrow weights to each other. All the fletchings are the same size. All the arrowheads are the same size. The spine weight on all the arrows are exactly the same, or within 5 pounds of spine weight maximum. Our tolerances are much tighter nowadays than they were back then. That's what all the studies seem to point to. Let's see. Peter says, I like being wrong when I learn more as a result. Okay, cool. As long as you don't go away mad. Mike, that kind of blunt, I got excited for a second. Oh, dang it. It's it's not that kind of blunt, silly. Peter says, so I guess the size difference tends to be along arrow at lateral lines, but it's more a general rule of thumb and not an all the time thing. Yeah. General rule of thumb is the lateral dart points are bigger than arrow points, but it's not always true. No. Mike Mason says, well, I'm sure sometimes you got to make doo-doo with what you got. Oh, yes. Sometimes. Jim says, Hunt Primitive is doing some practical studies via experimentation on ballistics of different styles and materials. It might be worth a look if you haven't already. Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. I mean, I like Ryan Gill. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I haven't seen his latest stuff though. I should go look. Yeah, he does a lot of stuff on his channel. A lot of different kinds of stuff. Peter says, I mean, if Africans could hunt elephants, maybe how they did it in recorded history is how they hunted mammoths. Have you seen them hunt elephants? It's pretty gruesome. They take handheld spears and they hit them in the head or all over the body, but mostly in the head. Eventually, they crack through the skull and they'll hit the brain, and then the elephant will die shortly thereafter. But yeah, death by 1,000 cuts is a thing when you hunt elephants. But they were using handheld spears when I watched the video, and there's been several different videos on it, and they do have a way to trap the elephant in one area. Either they use fire to scare the elephant into staying put in that one area, or I think they do capture one leg or something with ropes or whatever. They have a way to immobilize the elephant, so it's not charging everybody when you're shooting your spears. I'm pretty sure that they've got a way to immobilize the elephant somehow, either through fear or through some kind of physical means, like a rope around the leg or something. Ed's here. Ed Gould's here. Okay, Mike Mason says, mean and cruel and inhumane may be the way predators eat ungulates. Yeah, to keep it alive longer. Typically, you see wolves and bears do this to foals. Yeah, the cruelest I've seen a predator eat its prey is an eagle that was on a back of a fawn, a small deer, and just picking at the rib cage of the living fawn. It probably wouldn't have lived very long, but that was pretty gruesome. Yeah, the eagle would just reach down and grab a piece of meat and start chunking a piece of skin or whatever, and the fawn was still alive and walking around, and the eagle was on its back. Yeah, that would take the longest time, I think. But other predators will chase down something and start ripping out uh, chunks from the soft underbelly of the animal. It takes a while to kill an animal that way too, but uh, not more than a day, I would think. Let's see. Ed Gould says, I just can't do the auction for a while. Have too many other things to pay. I see. Let's see. Wait, I missed some stuff. Let's see. Jim says, if you don't like, you'll be the first one on the sacrificial altar. Yeah, if you don't hit the like button. Let's see. No blunt is a bad blunt. Yeah. Tommy says, Mr. Ed, Keith was happy he beat you here until I told him he was probably outbidding him. Yeah, being sneaky. Ed says, I just watched the guy making strings and ropes out of rawhide strips he cut with a jig he makes. He made the jig out of wood, right? I saw that video too. I'm getting probably the same notifications as you are, Ed. Yeah. Let's see. Bill Taylor says, hi, everybody. Made it late, but I'm here. Yep. Always an hour late. Mike Mason, I'm still bedridden. May have to go to the hospital before I can get the hides to send. Oh, dang. Get well soon then. That's terrible. Let's see. What did I miss? Here he goes. Was it a Clay Hayes video? Yeah, the Clay Hayes video. He's doing the rawhide strips. Yeah, it is Clay Hayes. Jim Cooper says, I have an early poacher's spearhead from Africa. It's massive, about 2.5 feet long, leaf-shaped blade. Yeah. Yep. They would put those on handheld spears that you would throw as well. Yep. Jordan says, Clay won a season of Alone, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was on that TV show Alone and did pretty well, right? Yeah. I just made a rawhide string the other day, but I had that rawhide saved up. I cheated because I bought it. I bought the rawhide a long time ago, actually. I finally made a bowstring out of it, and I still got to get that. A couple of bows made for a friend of mine that he can use as instruments. He's a musician. He uses them in a presentation. Let's see, Red-Eyed Patriots here. That's a big old blade in the thumbnail. Yeah, big old blade. See, to us, it's a dagger, but to a hobbit, it would be a sword. Yeah. Yeah. It is fun to actually have one. After it's done, yeah. I don't like making these, but after it's done, that's the cool part, is to have one. Yeah. Poke you in the eye with it. I want you to do only big blades on video. I hate the small stuff. Yeah, I know people like that. They don't say it to me, but I know what they're thinking. They only want to see the big blades on video. And I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, honestly, I think the best show was the early season of Dual Survival when Cody and Dave were the hosts. Could be, yeah. I didn't watch them when they first came out, those survival shows or those Alone shows or whatever. There's been several different shows like that. Naked and Afraid. I watched them after the fact, and I picked one here, one there, one here. So I don't. My brain is all out of sequence. I don't know which one came first. Naked and Afraid or Alone. Chicken or the egg type of thing. Let's see. Ed Gould says, I might have to bid on the big blade. Yeah. It doesn't hurt to bid, especially at this hour where it's still kind of early. Yeah. Tommy says, Keith, they scared of your hounds. More likes than views now. Yeah. Well, there's more likes than people watching. There's 30 people watching and 33 likes. Maybe I can hit the like button to add one more like to it. Let's see. Like, can I do it? I don't know. I might be able to do it on my phone. Yeah, let's cheat. Okay, come on. I won't be able to like my own video if I can't get to it. I didn't need these glasses until like a couple years ago. Oh yeah, I gotta make sure I tell Ben I can't make it to the nap-in. I can't go to the Texas nap-in. I'm getting too much spam on my texts too. Let me see. What was I looking for? I already forgot what I was looking for. It must have been not important. I shouldn't have hit the text. I got a text notification. I shouldn't have hit that because now I can't remember what I was looking for. Dave and Cody, just actors. Yeah. Mr. Crazy is here. He says, I got lost in my new box of obsidian for a bit. I finally managed to find my way to the live, though. Oh, yeah, I was going to like my own video. Let's see if it works. Can I see my own live stream? Not that one. That's not even me. Where's my notification of the live stream? Did I get one? I don't think I got one. Come on. See, it's spinning. See that? What is that? Only when I try to look for my stuff. That's the only time it happens. Okay. Now let's see. Where is it? I want to see. See, I pushed the live button up top. It looks like there's nothing. Oh, there it goes. Let's see. Is it me? No, those are all my ended ones. I can't see my own live video. I can sometimes. Today is being a booger. Anyway. What did I miss? I can chat too. I should chat. No, I got enough to do. Tommy says it's only cheating if you get caught, and I see nothing. All right, Tommy, you won't tell. That's good to know. Yeah. Jim says Survivor Man was the first. He's good, but I would have preferred a mastery of the skills present over the perspective of an average Joe. Yeah, that would have been cool. Tommy says, you was looking to like your own video. Yeah, I tried to like my own video and then don't even see it. It's not showing up. I didn't get my own notification either. No, I see my auction, but that's it. I like that I have 0 shorts. Oh, I like it. I don't like to make short videos. I hit the shorts option and then I have nothing. It makes me happy. All right. Mike Mason says, Jim Cooper, yeah, I wish Les Stroud didn't have to film it all himself. He could spend more time on bushcraft and maybe survival. Maybe survival, right? Mike says, Tommy Taylor, I don't cheat. Nowadays, I tell him what it is at the start. Uh-oh. Ed Gould says, been doing car stuff. Time to have a screwdriver. Uh-oh. Hey, Sal's here. Sal's in the house. Yeah. Sal is in the building. Alan Cole says, oh, it's okay, Patrick. I liked it for you with my alternate account. Okay, cool. I see some of the likes going up. Mike Mason says, she is Tuesdays. I'll let her know if another weekday opens up and I give her an arrowhead. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, check out Sal's channel. He posts pretty regularly. Blades and Points by SGP. Yeah. I'm thinking about what could SGP stand for besides Sal Perales? Sal Perales. What could it stand for? Anyways. Hola, mis amigos. Blades and Points. I never tell. Cool. All right, what are we talking about now? Mike Tuff says Sergeant Pepper. I'm lost. What is it? Oh, TikTok now sends me messages since I signed up for TikTok. And I made the mistake of saying, I will allow the messages. I have to disallow the messages. Can't stand them. Let's see. Alan Cole says, I lost interest in Les Stroud when he went all in on chasing Bigfoot. He was way more interesting doing survival videos. Oh, dang. Mike Mason, yo no oble mucho español. That's funny. It's funny. Mike Tuff says, yeah, let's all start talking in foreign languages like we haven't even learned our English yet. Yeah, let's do that. Keith Rickett says, I think I actually bid $20 on Patrick's auction rules. Oh, dang it. You bid on the rules? I'll send you a copy. Quick, delete the bid before I declare you the winner on the auction rules. That's so funny. Okay, let me see. Auction time. I know it's auction time. I hate myself. I don't like my voice. Okay, Keith Ricketts, you put a bid out in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to delete that one. Okay? It's not under one of the items, so I'm going to delete that one. Okay? Hopefully you won't mind. All right. So we got some comments. Yes. Ooh, there's 5 replies. Let me see how you guys are bidding on the big blade. Okay, so far Buckskin NYB he's got the high bid on this, $100. Thank you. I'll declare the winners at 9 p.m. Eastern. We still got a couple hours to go. Oh, two. We got some bids. Let me hit the like button on these bids so they know I see the bids, okay? Just hold on for a second. You guys are so patient. Yeah. So agreeable. I say hang on and you hang on. I think everyone can see everyone's bids because, oops, maybe not. Joe Barry, you might not be able to see Jim Downhour's bid because you bid lower after he bid. Okay, so Joe Barry and Ed Gould seem to have the same phone provider or something because they can't see other people's bids. Keith Ricketts sometimes can't see other people's bids. Just letting you know, it's not saying anything bad about you, but sometimes you can't see other people's bids. And that does happen. Sometimes I can't see people's bids. But what I do is I always hit the sort button on the comments and hit the, pan over and hit the newest button and align everything according to the newest comments with the newest first. And that seems to update the comments in such a way that I can see everybody. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you put in a bid where it shouldn't be, you can just delete your bid and that sort of thing. Some people, they would say, oops, I bid in the wrong spot. But yeah, just delete. Okay. I think I hit the like button on all the bids so far. Everything's being bid on, so it's good. Let's see. Tommy Taylor says, I went to look up Sal's video the other night, but I guess the wind changed direction and I forgot. You're like me because ADHD is a terrible thing. Yeah. Jim says, when the disaster that is man versus wild, it was bad. I must have missed the first part of that comment. Mike says, rules are up for dibs. If he wins, this is the name of the game called I Win. Okay, I don't read so good, sorry. Let's see. Keith Ricketts says it's Ed's fault. Let's see. Yo, Keith, yeah. So I noticed that there are certain people that have difficulty seeing other bids. And just try refreshing the comment section by hitting the newest, sort it by newest video, newest comment. And it should show you all the bids. Hey, Mr. Jim, good evening. Mr. Jim 5280. $5,280. I wonder what these numbers are that YouTube puts after some people's names, but it doesn't put it after everybody's name. Yeah, so there's been quite a few bids on the big blade, and it's only 7. Usually the bidding starts heating up after 8 p.m. Eastern during the last hour, and then at the last 30 minutes is usually pretty intense. If I have a lot of items. I only have 8 items this week, but sometimes I have up to 15 items, and it's difficult to keep track who won. And it's not that difficult to keep track of who won. It's difficult to post the winners in a timely manner. I try to do it as fast as possible so that no one's going, "What happened? I bid and I think I won, but there's nothing that says I won." Yeah, well, sometimes it takes me forever. Ginger Squatch, smash the like button. Awesome. Let's see. Mike says, "Sal, I do feel like I am among giants here. I'm the one that does okay." Uh, don't feel that way. Everybody's been in a position where they make almonds and marbles and gravel and lots of powder points. Yeah. Yeah. Knapping is a different kind of skill. It is quite different from other types of skill. You've got to really, uh, really focus on the practice. I guess it's kind of like video games where you do terribly in the beginning until you get the hang of the video game. But I've had guys comment on my videos that play video games, but they don't make the connection that napping is going to be similar in that at first you're going to crash and burn and you're going to get killed, so to speak. But they go, "I want a nap, but I don't understand why it's not working. I've been napping for 2 weeks. What's the matter?" It's more difficult than you think. Yeah. Because the stones don't like it. And the stones have been around for millions of years longer than you have. Yeah. They got all this time to think about, what am I going to do if someone tries to make something out of me? Put up a big resistance. I've been waiting for the day I'm going to mess up someone's day. They've been waiting millions of years to mess up our day and then laugh at us. Tommy Taylor says, "I get plenty of notification for something called labor videos. Don't even know what that is. I still haven't got one for the auction yet." Labor videos. That's not good. I get notifications for my subscriptions that I, click the bell icon, as they say. But not all of them. I can tell which ones are being throttled on the people that I follow and people that get promoted. Welcome to this talk. Some of the notifications I get are from channels that I don't have the notify all. I click the notify me of everything. And then some I want notifications for everything, and I never get a notification from them. So I know that those are being throttled. Yeah. So the notifications, you can click all or personalized or none or unsubscribe. So some of the ones that are just personalized, I get that notification, but I don't get the notification from the all. There's something going on. Sneaky background stuff. Let's see what's going on. Blades. Oh, Sal says, "I'm going to freak out if you do a no talk live stream." Oh, you know what I'm going to do with that latest Obsidian video, right? The last one, no talk, is Obsidian, right? I'm going to do a narration over the top of it. I think I'm going to start doing no talks, post those, and then do a narrated version of the same video. That way I can sit there and narrate and, not have to talk during the video. I really have a hard time enjoying the videos where I have to talk. But it's easier for me to narrate, right? Or do the voiceover, but it takes me a long time. I mean, it's a lot. It's double the amount of time on that video. So I got to sit there for an hour and a half doing the voiceover. But I suppose, well, I think that'll work though. It might work to my advantage if I do two versions of each video. Keith says, "LOL, I agree, Sal. I vote no on no talk live stream. Me just humming." Yeah, I will not do that to you. I'm sorry. Uh, no, I would be terribly sorry if I had done that to somebody, to just do a live stream with just staring or just working. You know, there's other YouTubers that make millions of views off of videos where they're just studying or just staring or just looking at nature or whatever. And it says, and the title says, "Study with me," or "Read with me," or "Walk with me." They have millions of views. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Of course, it helps when they're girls, right? Most of the internet seems to be men looking for stuff. And yeah, they got the advantage. They got the advantage for sure. Sal, that would be maddening in the chat. Should have done it April 1st. Yeah, I could have done an April Fool's no talk live stream. Hey, Frodo Joe's here. His name's Harold, in case you want to know. I made a video yesterday on my portable greenhouse. It sucks. Don't watch it. All right, I will not watch it. Thanks for the warning, Bushy. Jim Cooper, Patrick Blank, new ASMR narration. Yeah. I was tempted to do something like that on a different channel, but no. I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't watch some guy doing creepy noises, but it seems so easy to do a video that way. Mike Tuff says, "Okay, this bounced back in my head since you said voiceover. What in the wide world of sports going on here?" I remember Raspy Voice who said this. Yeah, there was an announcer that said that he used to announce the football games. I forget his name now. Let's see. I got to look it up. No, wait a second. I know that's from Blazing Saddles. Yeah. Hold on. I'm getting mixed up, right? I'm getting it mixed up with a sports announcer. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Can you hear that? You probably can't hear that. Here it is. Ready? What in the wide world of sports is going on here? That's it. I'm going to save that video. But I usually say, what in the wide world of Flintnapping is going on here? Copy link. Yeah, let's copy link. Link needs to be copied. All right, let's see what we got there. AJ Williams is here. Yo, good evening, Patrick, and all the groupies. Just sat down. Awesome. Let's see. Mike says, Patrick, in a Dylan Mulvaney costume on Wednesday? No, please don't. I'm going to burn my brain again. Yeah, there's no way. Sal says, my brain isn't wired correctly, and I happen to come up with funny things out of nowhere. Join the club. Welcome. Welcome to the club. Yes. Mike says, Mike, you're going to get Bud Lighted if you ever bring that up. Bring up that thing's name again. Yeah. Mike Tuss was thinking of a movie. Yep, I saw it. It's Blazing Saddles. That's where that quote comes from. Now, I don't know if that football announcer started doing the same thing or not. I'm wondering. Let's see. Let's see. Mike says, I know I'm already going to hell just trying to make it worth my time. Oh, there you go. Blazing Saddles. Jim Cooper says, sometimes they don't do that for ADHD people to have a coworker. Okay, sometimes they do that for ADHD people to have a coworker for some reason. It makes getting things done easier. So that could be one reason why those videos are so popular. Yeah. Yeah. ADHD is actually more productive if you have, like you said, a coworker or someone to do the activity together with, even though you're not interacting, or even sometimes when you do interact, it helps to keep the ADHD person on focused. Yeah. My ex-wife called me. She was filling out some stuff online, and she'll call me if she has trouble doing something online, just so I can be on the phone while she's doing it, so she doesn't get distracted and start doing something else. Yeah, she's got ADHD. Yeah, it's unfortunately I married someone that's also got ADHD. Although mine is not as bad as hers. My autism is bad. Yeah. But yeah, it's true. But I can't work with someone else. So my ADHD is a little bit different. If I have someone that's with me, I get distracted. Yeah, it's painful to get the interruption or the working with someone. It's actually mentally disturbing for me. So I'm the opposite. Tommy Taylor says, "Where are all the jokes tonight?" Yeah, I mean, I understand why a lot of guys are not putting the jokes in because you can only type in a small comment. So a lot of times a joke doesn't fit. But you can do knock knock jokes or what do you call this kind of stuff or that kind of jokes. Mhm. Mike says, whenever you would say that voice would come to my head. Okay. What's in your hand, Tommy? Hmm. Keith says, there are stores here in Central Florida that have stacks of Bud Light they still can't sell. Oh, dang. Still. Wow. I noticed that the Bud Light section shrank in stores around here quite a bit. Yes, yes. Roy Browski. Hey, I'm here having nachos. All right. Mike Mason says, is your ex in the chat with us now? No. No. Definitely not. Maybe lurking, but never commenting. Ferdo Joe. You can call me Ray. You can call me Jay. You can call me RJJ, but you don't have to call me Johnson. Bud Light 1985. I don't remember that one. Mike says, how come to find out I'm a Sigma male? Had no idea until I started watching YouTube videos. You come to find out you're a Sigma male? Sal says, you have nachos for sale? Nachomatic? Yeah, I've got a couple. Why, Ted's not selling them anymore? I can send you one, Sal. Mike says, the jokes ran out and Mike T is auditing my plagiarisms now. I think Danny Collins is actually selling the Nachomatics now, too. Nachomatic. You don't know what a Nachomatic is, Roy? Whoever does not know what a Nachomatic is, let me know. You got to try those out. They're cool. Let's see. AJ Williams says, gonna be on Florida end of the month. Gonna be in Florida. Anybody have info on the Million Souls mine? I'd like to go and visit with the owners. Won't be too far from them. Yeah, I have no information on the Million Souls mine, so maybe someone in the chat can let you in on it. Roy says, I do. They're clever. Okay, Roy, you do have Nachomatics. Okay. Or have one at least. Mr. Crazy says, I've got plenty of jokes with me. They're just the arrow points I've made. Nacho Cheeto, Thomas says. Yeah, it's the Nacho Cheeto. Sal says, I was asking Roy. He said he has nachos. Yeah. Mike says, yes, it's crazy. I thought I was just weird. It's kind of neat watching something that you can relate to and understand yourself a bit. Yeah. Mr. Jim says that weight boppers. Oh, what weight boppers would you recommend for a noob? 9 ounce, 6 ounce, 4 ounce. Yeah. 9 ounce, 6 ounce, and 4 ounce. 3 or something similar to that, but just get 3 different boppers. And one, you'll be using one most of the time, and that one's going to get beat up pretty bad. And the other 2 probably won't get used very often, but you want them to be in good shape for the final thinning and stuff like that. Jim says, I definitely want a Nachomatic. Maybe you can throw one in when we trade material. Okay. Sal says, trying to be funny didn't work. Where were you trying to be funny? Roy says, I'm very new to napping. I have yet to try the actual tools. I don't own any copper, only handmade stuff. That's fine. Yeah. Brendan's here. Brendan, go forth comedy. Keith says, I have 3 springs that look perfect for making Nachomatics. I may see if I can put one together. Yeah. Roy says, I'll share nachos because my teeth are snapping halfish. I'll share nachos because my teeth are snapping halfish. Mike says, Mike Tufts, I think most of us are a mix of many things. I can see myself in Sigma, but at the same time, I'm not purely that. I see. Peter says, I think the jokes running out made Mike Raj itchy. What does that mean? Let's see. Jordan says, I started with everything homemade too, Roy. Yeah, join the club. I've started with everything homemade as well. Keith says, 9, 6, and 3 ounce or small, medium, and large. There you go. Yes. Jesse says, started using a brass flattened notcher instead of copper and stopped snapping the ears off. Maybe the copper bites harder. I can't figure out why there's a difference. Yeah. Brass is a little bit harder. It doesn't pull on the edge as much. It's harder and slipperier than copper. Peter's garage is itchy. That's a joke too. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Jim says, I was thinking about material I could send you, and I was thinking about half Primo stuff and half Rock Challenge. I have a material from Arizona. I'll be curious to see what you can do with it. All right. Yeah, half and half is fine. Ashbutter says, I hope these Sigma people in chat aren't serious. Hey, let's see. Ferro Joe, I worked on some Onondaga today. My arrowhead came out looking like a pregnant salamander. I gotta see that one. What does a pregnant salamander look like? Mike Mason says, serious as TP to your namesake. Jesse, feels like the brass rod flattened breaks the bulb faster rather than biting longer, creating more pressure before it lets loose. I see. Yeah, makes sense. Peter says, nah, I don't have a garage. That's funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see here. Thomas Thompson says, can you use bone with the Notchomatic instead of copper? I bet Pat could make one. Yeah, you can attach a piece of bone to the front of it. Yeah. Or replace the front part. But see, it's best that you find some way to attach it because steel on steel inside that spring area works best. You don't want to mess up the bone and have it get all tangled up with the spring. Keith says, Jesse, I always use steel for notching, copper for sharpening. Oh, wait, marbles are not sharp and I don't have notches. That's funny. I was totally thinking of something else while I was reading that. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be serious. Yeah. That's funny. Let me close the front shades to my house. Everyone can see in. Yeah. There, that's better. It's starting to get on my nerves that people can just walk down the street and see in my window. Yeah. I don't want them to see them on air. All right. Let's see. Peter says, let that arrow fly free. Sal says, someone has like 80 pounds of ammonium nitrate under his bed. I'm not telling. I don't know. Jesse says, yeah, you're funny too. You're funny, bro. Jim Main's here. Hey, everybody. I'm late. Collected a bucket of Jeff City chert and had to face nap some Popeyes. Awesome. That's Jefferson City chert, right? I've heard of that. Roy says, I took the advice. Don't wonder. Just do it. I ate expired yogurt. Oh, no, don't. Yeah, don't mess with that kind of stuff. Hey, Lance is here. Outcast metal detecting. What's up? I tried napping today, but rain put a stop to that quick, fast, and in a hurry. Yeah, that'll do it. It snowed this morning here today, but just lightly. No accumulation whatsoever. Yeah, it was a wimpy snowfall. I thought I was going to see some snow on the ground. Peter says, Mike Mason, that's a bit too aggressive with it for me. I don't know what you guys are talking about in the chat. I feel like I'm missing out. Fear of missing out. No. I don't get that fear of missing out stuff. In fact, I'm glad I miss out on some stuff. Oh, yes. I saw snow and I couldn't nap, so I was sad. Roy's funny. You trying to be funny? Because you are being funny. AJ Williams says, I still have a 1/2 inch iron pipe with a cap on after watching you 2 years ago on your earlier videos. You should use it again so the newbies can see what I was breaking rocks with. Yeah. Mike Mason says, sorry, Patrick. Brennan says, I still use iron pipe to break down laurel chert in early phase. Yeah. Lance says, have you ever made cordage out of stinging nettles? Nope, but I bought some seeds for stinging nettles. Yeah, I'm going to grow some so I can do it. They say that there's stinging nettle everywhere here, but I haven't even found one plant yet of stinging nettle. I don't know what it is. I have found no hazel and no stinging nettle. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I have not made cordage out of it, to answer the question. No. And they say they have dogbane around here too. And I found very few dogbane plants. I did find some near the river, but the ones that I found were too old and rotten, so I can't make cordage out of stuff that's falling apart. Wait, what am I missing here? Did the video just glitch for anyone else, or just my internet? Asks Peter. Yeah, it's on your end, Peter. Well, Jim says it did for him too. Asked Butter, the grass cutting people shredded some arrows hidden under the grass I lost. Needless to say, I found them today. Oh, dang. Jesse says, my wife was in the backyard and found a stone in the planter. Isn't this a type of stone you need? Sure enough, it was fine-grained quartzite she's been listening to in the background, apparently. Wow. That'd be neat to find something you can nap in the backyard of your house. That'd be like the ultimate. Jim says, Patrick, I just sent you a messenger post about a guy who claims he has Vermont chert. Let's see. All right, who is it? Rock Connection and Lithic Knapping Resources. It's Jay. Yeah, I know Jay. He does have Vermont chert, and I know where he gets it. Yep. I need to go rock hunting with him one of these days. Yes, and he sent me some of it too. It's not bad. There actually is chert in Vermont, but I got to drive like 4 hours to get to it, and it's not easy to access. Roy says, I'm not even sure how to find the shafts for arrows I need the warm weather to get out more. Let's see here. What did I miss? Sal says, anybody going to watch the new Cheech and Chong? I didn't know that was a thing. I'll watch it. There are literally millions in the road ditches here in Alabama. You're talking about quartzite? So Roy says, I'm not even sure how to find the shafts for arrows I need. The warm weather to get out more. You just look for shoots of anything growing straight. Yeah. Chances are it's going to be a type of dogwood or something if you find it. And you're in let me know where you are, Roy, and then like what state. And then I'll tell you hopefully I can tell you what kind of plants have straight shoots or straight suckers that you can use for arrows. Mike Tuff says, I don't know, Peter, but my W button quit working on my computer. Can I turn the computer upside down and hit the M key? I wish. Thompson says, how did the old boys really flute? Many different ways, apparently. There's not one way to flute a point. There's more than one way to flute a point. And they probably tried all the ways. With jigs and not with jigs, with percussion and with pressure. All kinds of ways. Ferdo Joe, let's see what we got here. Bushy says, you'll find nettles when you walk down a trail in the summer with shorts. Oh, okay, yeah. Use jewelweed to stop the stinging. Yeah. I was afraid of that. I don't want to do that method. Mike says, well, if you would have shot down the grass, things would be different, Butter. Jesse says, been rooting for old Jay to hit the mother lode. He's been searching the world. Yeah, for sure. Jay's been traveling all over the place looking for the perfect chert. It seems. Jim says, okay, I just figured I'd let you know in case you didn't have the information already. Alrighty. Yeah. Good. Yeah, send me the information even though I might already have it. No worries. Okay, now we're talking about grass sides. Ed Gould says, I've been keeping up with 1923. What is that? Okay, Roy's in Pennsylvania. Oh, dang. Uh, here, we get the same stuff you guys have in Pennsylvania. I use silky dogwood and viburnum. Silky dogwood you'll find next to the rivers. And I got some right here. I'm keeping these indoors to see how long they take to dry out. Silky dogwood grows near rivers. It's like red osier. It looks almost the same as red osier dogwood. And I've been straightening these without heat. And I think this is 30 some odd inches long. Where are you? What is the diameter? Don't worry about the diameter. Just make sure it's more than 5/16. Okay, you'll get to know what diameter is good. I think this one is 7/16, but you can gather these up to 3/4 inch diameter. Okay, you just have to shave them down quite a bit. But if you're into the woodworking, shaving these down should be no problem at all. And what I do is I strip the bark off of 80% of it. First, I let them dry up a little bit before I shave the bark off. A month. I leave them a month outside under cover so they don't get all soaking wet and moldy for about a month. And then I strip the bark off. I got to make sure they're not too dry. I also cover the ends with Type Bond waterproof glue, Type Bond 3, so that the ends don't split. And I leave like, I don't know what that 2 inches of bark on the bottom and on the top. That helps prevent splitting. All right. So after a month, maybe 2 weeks, it depends on the weather. If it's dry, then 2 weeks. And then you strip the bark off and then do your first preliminary straightening with your hands. Just bend them with your hands and bundle them together with rubber bands. They're not going to be that straight. And then after another few weeks, then you start using the arrow wrench on them. And this is all cold straightening. This is what I use for arrow wrench. It's a piece of poplar from the hardware store. And I just cut it into that shape. I think that's 3/4 inch. Okay. 3/4 wide and 3/4 deep. Let's see. Yeah, 3/4 wide and 3/4 deep. And you round the top and bottom. So you're not crimping the arrow with sharp edges. And you bend it. You know how to use an arrow wrench. Anyways, these are working out really well. Without heat, I can straighten these silky dogwood shafts. With a viburnum, it's a little bit more difficult. They go back to their original shape more than the silky dogwood. So I'm going to have to use some heat with the viburnum. Okay, what do I miss? Asbutter says, look for some Chinese privet. Oh yeah, Chinese privet. It's great hardwood for arrows. It's obviously not native, but it's everywhere across America and the main wood I use. To whoever was looking for that arrow wood. Yeah. I've got some Chinese privet up on the hill. Got 2 bushes of it. And it has a lot of branches, so you got to watch out for the branches. It's hard to get a Chinese privet without branches along the stem. But silky dogwood is better for that. There are little branches, but they're far apart on the silky dogwood. Whereas the Chinese privet has a bunch, especially near the top. See, this one has, oh, you can't tell, but these are like 8 inches apart. These little branch nodes, if there are some on there, they're like 8 inches apart, which it won't weaken the arrow as much. Millions of stinging nettles on the road ditches here. Okay, I see stinging nettles. Yeah. But the road ditches around here, they don't have stinging nettles. No. Jim says, Will Lord has some cool videos on Stone Age sickles. I see. Around here, the stuff we have in the ditches is mostly multifloral rose and other kinds of briar bushes, thorns. We've got raspberries. We've got creeping vines and staghorn sumac, oaks, and maples. Sometimes you'll find viburnum on road ditches, but it's mostly the wildflowers and useless weeds. Let's see. Let me see. Roy says, yeah, can't wait to try that. Heck yeah. Keith says, have you ever tried to do a Folsom point? The one where the flute runs from tip to base? Yeah, I've tried those. I can make a small one. I can make one that's 2 inches long. A lot of them are small, the real ones. But there's so many failures that I'm not interested in that kind of flint napping. Those are made with luck. That's one of the points that has the most amount of luck involved in making one, I think. Yeah, I used to make in the beginning. I was like everybody else when I first started napping. Okay, what am I going to make? I want to make Folsoms, Edens, and Clovises. Yeah. In my first 3 years of napping, I wanted to make Folsoms, Edens, and Clovises. Boy, I was new. I did try each one of those. Scott's Bluffs and Edens were my first. I mean, I got close to making them, but none with the type of flaking I really wanted. I'm still trying to do it up to this day, especially the Edens. I mean, I can try doing a Folsom on video, but maybe I'll do one without narrating, one of those no talk videos so I can actually focus on what I'm doing. And then I'll do a voiceover on the second version. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Jesse says, most of the successful Folsom I've seen were done with a jig. Only saw one guy shot to the tip with indirect solid copper rod. Yeah. Jigs are very effective at doing Folsoms. That's how the professionals, which, I shouldn't put that in quotation marks, but professional Folsom makers use jigs. Roy says, I remember watching the video you made on this. Yeah. Mike Mason says, Keith Ricketts, that sounds like a recipe for the blues to me. Jim says, have you seen about the dire wolves they just genetically engineered from gray wolves? They call it de-extinction. No, I haven't seen it, but someone else in the comment section mentioned it. Yeah. 0.001%. Roy says, I have tons of bushes here, but they're all curvy and have bends or are brittle or pithy. Yeah. Just keep looking. You'll find something that you can make an arrow from. Go down. If there's a river near where you are at, if you have access to the riverside, look for the shoots there. Roy says, allergic to sumac. Yeah, me too. I get a reaction to sumac. Let's see. Thomas Thompson says, wrap that Clovis in clay, pop the nip, it will rip. Yeah, I've seen that video. I can make Clovises that look like real ones. So that was all I needed. Real Clovises are crude by our standards because we're thinking of the perfectly fluted Clovises in most cases. But if you look at a large sampling of Clovis points, the flutes are not the same on both sides. Sometimes they're double fluted. Sometimes it's just thinning flakes. Once in a while, the flute goes way too far, and you can see how they had to repair the tip because it overshot the tip, but it was still long enough to make a Clovis out of, that sort of thing. So the real Clovises are kind of easy to make. Now it's the Folsom that requires 90% luck, and the Edens require 99% skill. Yeah, the Edens are the hardest ones, I think. Uh, Mike says, I think it's funny they call it de-extinction rather than de-evolution. Hmm. Jesse says, anyone else do a super chat? We will be the ones benefiting if Pat can buy some exotic stones to nap. Yeah, true. Jim says, rose hips get humongous in New England. Yeah. I just cut a rose bush. I need to see. There's a couple shoots in there that might be able to be used as arrows. I'm trying to get the multifloral rose out of my yard. Jesse says, bigger pieces to make more large blades. No. Roy says, I don't know the difference between staghorn and sumac. Yeah. There's online sources where you can see. Mike Mason, Roy, the berries on the staghorn are red. Sumac is white. Okay. Yeah, the poison sumac berries are white. But I'm allergic to the staghorns as well. Tommy says, you can find anything in the ditches in the rural South. Oh, yeah. Jim says, staghorn is sumac. The other kind is poison sumac if it has white berries. Yep, exactly. Roy says, I tried making a bow from a red oak sapling, and it was hard to do with my dull hatchet and ended up snapping it, and I turned half into bowstring fire kit. There you go. Let's see, where am I? We're approaching the end of the live stream. I got 6 minutes. I'm gonna try to catch up with the chat. Mike Mason says, I think sumac has smooth leaves too. I know staghorn gets the name from the aeration appeal on the leaves. I don't know. Brent says, I miss artifact and resin replica discussion vids. Artifact and resin replica discussion. Okay. I'll try to do some more. I just don't have many artifacts right now. Sal says, depending on how good I score at the nap-in, Patrick, I should be able to send you a box soon. Awesome. Oh, Sal, I'm not going to be able to go to the nap-in. Did I tell you already? In Brady this spring. I won't be able to go this spring. I got to call Ben and let him know. I told Danny just now, too. He was in the chat. I'm not going to be able to go to Texas. Cheese wagon. I'm hankering for a hunk of cheese. Mike says, nobody got my corny joke. Folsom Blues, Johnny Cash. Oh, I see. Yeah, no one got it. Oh, well. Jim says, I know Don Crabtree used a chest crutch and wedged the preform into a log to make his flutes. Yep, that works. I've seen it done, actually. Not by him, by other guys. Sal says, oh, I got it. Mr. Jim says, arrow material in South Texas. South Texas arrow material. You can use the cane, the giant cane that looks like Phragmites. In South Texas, it grows strong enough to use the giant cane. Okay. Don't worry about what it's called online. Everything's wrong online when it comes to cane, when it comes to Phragmites or reed. Everything online is wrong when it comes to Phragmites reed. So don't go by any of that. Just go out in the canals in South Texas. I don't know how far you are in South Texas, but if you go to the Rio Grande Valley, you'll find reeds along the canals in many places. That stuff can be thick enough for arrows. Other stuff in the wild in South Texas, in the land of mesquite trees, if that's where you are, you'll need to look for the invasive species or the ornamentals. You can sometimes find crepe myrtle shoots that are straight enough for arrows, and they make excellent arrows. Crepe myrtle. Otherwise, there's not much. Yeah. Let's see. You might find a straight piece of oak as well. I have seen sometimes oak will grow straight, but you'll have to put a foreshaft on it because you're only going to get maybe 20 inches of a straight piece of oak. These oak suckers. Let's see. Chokecherry makes good arrows, says Ed Gould. Yep. Roy says, oh, I also serviceberry in South Texas. If you can find straight shoots of that, serviceberry might work. Roy Browski, I might be allergic to both because I have had a weed whack and a whole hill of it and had a bad reaction. Yeah. Talking about sumac. Tommy says, just got the notification for the auction. Yeah. YouTube's not good. Not reliable. All right, where am I? Thomas Thompson says, my dad showed me that was 50 years ago. Why? Before YouTube. Way before YouTube. Mm-hmm. Roy got the Folsom Blues joke. Jim says, you should look up the Wenatchee Clovis dig massive for Clovis plume agate blades about a foot long with massive flutes found in some guy's cherry orchard when they were removing dead trees. I've seen the Wenatchee Clovis cache. Plume agate blades about a foot long. I don't know about that. I need to look at that again. Roy says, oh no, lag. My phone's been doing this all day. Dang it. Face snapping some hot damn. Alan Cole said, good night all and good luck with the auction. Thank you. Good night. Yeah, we've got about 1 minute left on the live stream. Adios, amigo, says Sal. See you later, jefe. See you later, amigo. I'll see you in the next live stream. The next one after this is Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be napping Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. I do nap on the live stream on Wednesdays. Roy says, I got some real good information from this live stream. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Mr. Jim, Mesquite, Huisache, and Live Oak are all I have. Yeah, you're not going to find arrows that way, Mr. Jim. Unfortunately, you'll have to go to Lowe's and get dowels or Home Depot, get some dowels. Mike Mason says, my autocorrect don't know Spanish either. Dang it. Brennan says, later, y'all. Jordan says, well, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Yes. Everybody say goodbye. Ferdo Joe says, Roy, watch out for wild parsnip. I've seen people weed whack it and ended up in the hospital. Yeah, watch out for some of those weeds for sure. Asked for Corn is here. Hey, you say goodbye, but I say hello. Yeah, you made it in the last minute. Man. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for participating. These live streams are pretty fun. Yeah, I like them. Yeah, get your questions ready for next time. I'm going to be napping more difficult material. I'll be napping some difficult material. And I nap in my house here on Wednesdays. I'm going to try to set up a nap area outside, but who knows? So yeah, I'll be napping some difficult material coming up on Wednesday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. But after this live stream is over, I put the schedule for my live streams down in the description box. Yeah. All righty. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Everybody have a good night. I need to face nap my dinner. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.